rabbis of yesteryear. Now, it was just over a week ago, the Hilula of a famous rabbi, Harav נסים Baruch, or you could give him his full title, Rabbi Haim Baruch. He lived between the years 1814 to 1899. It's reported over that his Hilula was on the 27th of Nisan, respectively, just more than a week ago, a week and a half ago, from the time of recording. He was a famous rabbi of his day. He was a businessman. He was a head of the, let's say, the Sephardic committee in Jerusalem, respectively. He was head of Jewish court, of the congregation of the city, the community's courts, respectively. So he had various different prominent titles over here, and we'll learn that many of his descendants become some famous rabbis, some famous Zionistic figures, very famous Zionistic figures. So let's explore a bit within regards to the famous rabbi's life. Now, he was born in Jerusalem, in the holy city of Israel, in the year 1814, naturally, Hey Taf Kuf Ayin, and he came from great rabbinic auspices. His father's name was Rabbi Shmuel Baruch. And I believe he would be named Nissim. His name Nissim came about because I believe various different miracles was reported over to have happened to his father during his lifetime while he was traveling abroad. So because of that, he would name his son Nissim. Now, when he grew up, he married Sarah. Sarah happened to be the daughter of another famous rabbi who we've mentioned about on various occasions before, over here inside this series. She was the daughter of Rabbi Haim Abraham. And I believe we mentioned him on a few occasions before. He himself happened to be a businessman and a clerk in Jerusalem, of the Kollel in Jerusalem, respectively. He was very, very much very active all throughout his time. He was within regards to like the life cycle of different happenings taking place in Jerusalem, respectively. Now, it's actually be interesting for a parnasah, for sustenance. He would earn his living through trade. He was a tradesman all throughout his life. He was known also as a very influential man in the Zionistic world, in the city, and he had commercial relations with people from all different faiths living in Israel at that point in time, including Muslims he would trade with. Reported over towards the end of his life, he headed the Sephardi Community Committee in Jerusalem and served as the community's head of court over there, respectively. Now, it's actually interesting. He would actually study in a great group of Torah scholars, Torah rabbis, I think it was actually named, this group of 12 scholars called the Knesset Eliyahu. This very much included great rabbanim, including Rabbi Raphael Meir Banizel. He happened to be a Rishon LeZion, chief rabbi of Israel between the years 1880 to 1893 for a 13-year tenure. Another one was the famous Rabbi Yosef Nisim Borla, another rabbi I was talking about. Also Rabbi Yosef Miuchas, Rabbi Shmuel Miuchas, and a chief rabbi of Israel, Rabbi Yaakov Shaul Elishar, who happened to be the Rishon LeZion between the years 1893 to 1906. Is another one, great rabbi of this group of great Talmidei Chachamim. And another rabbi, the famous Rabbi Yosef Raphael Uziel, who would be a Rosh Yeshiva, Shlochei de Rabbanan, very much president of the Sephardi community, Abed Din, head of Jewish court, and Shochet also. And this was a very famous group of students, all-star line of great Chachamim, but that learned all together. Now, it's reported that he passed away on the 7th of April in the 1899, right at the end of the 19th century, naturally on the 27th of Nisan. Now, let's explore his family. It's various decorated great rabbanim that will become great rabbis, let's just say connections in Israel, and Zionistic figures also. Now, it's actually reported over his son. His name was Shmuel, and he happened to be the son-in-law of the famous Rabbi Yaakov Sapir, who happens to be, I believe, a rabbi from Belarus, very much connected to the Temani community in of itself. And I think he would be, if I'm not mistaken, his son was one of the founders of the Meir Shirim neighborhood, alongside other great rabbis, including Rabbi Ben Sion Leon, interestingly enough, and would serve as a member of the Ezrat Nadachim, I think, committee, of the Sephardi Community Committee in Jerusalem. Now, it's reported over his grandson, Naftali Ben Shmuel Baruch, would actually work as a gabbai and a treasurer in of the committee, Sephardi committee once again, and had a connection with in regards to the hospital called Miskab Ledach. We've spoken about various different people. I believe he was also a manager of the famous Yeshivat Mukubalim, Yeshivat Bet El in Jerusalem, respectively. Now, I think his granddaughter, Rabbanit Rika, would get married to the famous Rabbi Yosef Shaul Elisha. He happened to be a man of the congregation, let's just say a president, and very much part of the Jewish court in of itself, a very famous man also once again, Rabbi Yosef Shaul Elisha, and I believe he had many various different connections, respectively. And hopefully maybe we'll speak about him at a later stage. I think it's actually his Hilula only in about a month time, so that happens to be relative. I'm not too sure if he's related or not to Rabbi. In fact, I think he was the son of the Rishon LeZion, Rabbi Yaakov Shaul Elisha. So that's quite interesting. So he would have a marriage connection to the famous chief rabbi we just spoke about, who was in his group. Now his granddaughter, Rabbanit Rosa, who happens to be the daughter of Rabbi Avraham Baruch, married Rabbi Ben Zion Meir Uziah, who happened to be the first one of the chief rabbis of Israel between the years 1948 and 1953. Another famous rabbi. Another one of his granddaughters, Rabbanit Tzipora, married Rabbi Yosef Chaim Haniziel. He happened to be a famous Jewish lawyer and public figure and an educator, and very much had various different. He was a chief rabbi, I believe, of the Sephardic Jewish community in Argentina, Buenos Aires. Now it's reported over his granddaughter Leah Abushdid. She happened to be the daughter of Reina. She would get married to Itamar ben Avi, who was a Zionistic activist and one of the founders, let's say, of Netanya and Eben Yehuda. Itamar ben Avi, happened to be the son, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, of Eliezer ben Yehuda, let's just say the reviver of one of the revivers of Hebrew language in Israel, respectively. Now, another one of his, let's say, a great-grandson, Elazar Elishar, was a Jerusalem public figure, vice chairman of the World Federation of Sephardic Jews, respectively. So there are many, many different connections that made it as great rabbis or as, let's say, famous Zionistic figures actually came from his family, respectively. So it's always good to learn within regards to that. I believe he was about 85 years of age at the time he passed away, the famous Dayan did, of his role. So now, I've already spoken about many great Dayanim that were great businessmen or tradesmen also. We did actually cover quite a few, but it hasn't always been, let's just say, the case of here. He was a famous rabbi. There's family trees, if you want to look online within regards to his family in of itself. Now, 27th of Nisan was his Hilula. That was about approximately a week and a half ago. And please, everyone, if you happen to be related to any of these famous Rabbanim, please send me an email. I'd love to hear more about them. If you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, please subscribe now to the channel. We are nearing 7,000 subscribers at the moment. We're a community here. We're learning about the great Northern African rabbis, great Spanish Sephardi rabbis, of especially even the Ottoman era, so on and so forth. And he very much happened to be a famous one of his time. If you feel anyone's interested in watching any of these videos, share the videos to other people also. And we're coming just into Parsha Acharei Mot Kedoshim. It's a double Parsha this week here in Israel. So I'm wishing you all well, and please watch over the previous videos we've done, and always feedback is appreciated. So take care, and Shabbat Shalom.